and welcome to Mint. I'm Suneera Tandon. Today we have with us Mr. Amar Agarwal, Managing Director for the Spark Group. So Amar, you've been involved in setting a lot of high-end premium lifestyle brands in India like Yadro and Rosenthal. How's your experience been doing the same, and since when have you been doing that?
I think we started in the year 1998 when we brought a brand called Swarovski into India. And since then, it's been quite a few brands down the line. But I think that the challenges are pretty much the same as everybody else. The business finds itself extremely difficult to become profitable. The administrative challenges, the real estate challenges, the people challenges, the whole infrastructure issues, the taxation issues. So I guess, none of these problems are new to anybody. I think we've been a little more fortunate than some of our other peers in the industry in terms of the way we've navigated these problems. Where my sense, and I'm probably not authorized to say this, but I would say that we did not take the herd mentality. So we expanded very sensibly. We have a lot of stores across the country, but I think we did it in a very sensible way to saying that this is what's good for the business, which sometimes meant that the brands had a disagreement with the way we were developing the business, because obviously everybody would like to be present at the Oberoi or the Emporio. But for us, it wasn't about being at the Oberoi or the Emporio. It was about creating a sustainable financial model. So we've been able to do that quite successfully. But moving forward, the big question is what happens over the next 10 years. To us, the Indian luxury story is robust. There's no doubt about that. Temporary ups and downs happens in all the markets, but the Indian story itself is intact. That also leads one to be a little suspicious on whether the Indian story would engage the Indian entrepreneur in the long term. And lately one has seen too many examples of that going wrong. So we as a company are not ignoring this issue, and whilst we continue to develop the international brands at a reasonable pace, we've in a sense changed gears of saying how do we use this knowledge that we've acquired in working with these international brands to creating an Indian luxury brand. So that's what we created 2 years ago at the Delhi International Airport. And of course, it was a shot in the dark, but we did it with a lot of passion and conviction, with a lot of knowledge that we had acquired over the years. And I think what we've created is been admired quite well. We've been awarded on many forums as one of the best stores in India and so on and so forth. And the biggest award to us really has been the fact that till date we have over 100 inquiries from people around the world who want to be franchisees. We're not exploring that route yet, but that's a compliment to say that somebody wants to put money on your brand in a foreign country. So I think we're as a group, we're now looking at developing India and taking India to the world rather than putting more effort on bringing the world to India.
And how difficult is that per se, to take an Indian brand of Indian origin, very glued to what India does, and how accepting is the foreign consumer, be it across the world, anywhere, of it?
There are two issues here. The international acceptance of India and the international acceptance of Indian products. And I don't think it's fair to put both into the same boat. The global acceptance of India, there's no doubt. You look at every television program in America, there's got an Indian character in there. You look at the way yoga is spreading, look at the way Ayurveda is spreading, look at the way Indian designers continue to inspire Hollywood. India has made its mark in the world. We've integrated ourselves into the global culture. Have Indian products done the same? And that's a clear no, which could spell an opportunity if you look at it that way. The question was, do we know how to do it? And that's what we've been grappling with, to saying, what does the West want from India? What kind of products can we produce from India that the West would accept? And that to us is the journey now. We've just begun. 2 years of working at the international airport has given us a very good understanding of what the West will accept. But an airport ecosystem is rather deceptive because there's a very strong souvenir-based motivation also. Whether the same motivation would work in downtown Chicago is a big question. So I think we're sort of cognizant of this reality. And over the last 1 year, we've been doing a lot of research to understanding what it's going to take for India to be accepted by the world in a respectable way. And that's the key here, in an aspirational way. So we've been trying to understand what is the Western perception of India, what kind of products, and we are clear that you cannot take the brass elephant that has been produced over the generations and put it into a beautiful box and try to sell it in Chicago. It will not sell in Chicago. So the question is, how do we take the craftsmanship of making that brass elephant to creating products that the West needs? So that's the next big journey for us, and we will find out what the outcome of that is.
You've been selling international brands to the Indian consumer for almost over a decade now. What is the sort of difference you're seeing in the sensibility of the Indian audience, and how widespread has that sensibility become? I mean, is it just restricted to the larger metros, or do you think it's sort of trickling down?
I think it's part of a larger phenomena of becoming a generic world. So if you walk into a McDonald's in Gurgaon versus a McDonald's in Manhattan, they look the same. You walk into an office in Bombay and an office in Tokyo, they look the same. You walk into Delhi International Airport and you walk into Seattle Airport, they look the same. So we're walking into a generic world, which means that everything that's part of the generic world is becoming a part of life in India. So it's not about acceptance or non-acceptance. It's a reality that we are all falling into this generic trap. Countries are beginning to look the same. We actually did a film where we shot a car traveling through one of the highways, and we asked a couple of people to tell us which country do you think this is traveling through, and nobody could tell. They look the same. So people's acceptances of international products in India is not by design. It's by a global phenomena of becoming a generic world. How do we modify that? How do we create our own uniqueness? How do we create our own signature within this trend of becoming generic is going to be the real big challenge.
Absolutely. And will you continue then to bring more international brands? Are you in talks with more brands, and what categories will these be?
Like I said, I mean, we are more excited about taking India to the world now. So we're not too keen on bringing Western brands to India for the time being.
So
given our limited bandwidth, we'd rather concentrate all our efforts and resources in taking India to the world.
So then what countries or what companies are you talking to internationally to take your...
No, we're not actually. What we need to do is really first step out into the world ourselves, demonstrate that there's a proof of concept. And I'm confident that if we can deliver one or two projects in one or two major cities around the world, be it Chicago, being Los Angeles, be it London, be it Singapore, if we can demonstrate two successful projects in any of these cities, the world will embrace us. So we're just trying to get those two right. Everything else will fall into place.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for sharing your valuable insights and for being present at the Luxury Conference. Thank you so much. Keep watching for more.